So last step we've seen the expression for the magnetic vector potential. So that is what we need for having any kind of solution to find for any source which has been given to excite a structure, that is antenna structure. Okay, so we will go with that magnetic vector potential to have that source by which the antenna structure is excited, and will take into consideration of that magnetic vector potential to find out all the fields, either it is magnetic field or electric field. Okay, so that vector potential is having direct link with the magnetic field, that is H, and that H will take that H to find out E using the Maxwell's equation. So whenever any source will be given for any kind of antenna structure, what is the configuration of that source, depending upon that we'll take that source and we'll try to find out the magnetic vector potential. We'll use that magnetic vector potential to find magnetic field first, then that magnetic field will give us the electric field. So once we are having that electric field and magnetic field, we can find out what is the power being radiated by using the Poynting vector. So our main task, whenever any kind of antenna structure is given, we need to deal with the excitation first. That excitation will give us the vector potential. That potential will give us magnetic field, and consequently we can also find out the electric field. So once we are having this electric field and magnetic field with us, we can go with all the requirements for finding any kind of characteristics, either it is directivity, either it is radiation resistance, either it is the power which has been coming out from that antenna structure. Okay, so our first antenna structure, it is known as Hertzian dipole or Hertz dipole or infinitesimally small dipole. Okay, so first radiation structure, it is radiation from Hertz dipole. Or you can say infinitesimal small dipole or simply Hertzian dipole. So what is that? A infinitesimally small current element is called Hertz dipole. Okay, a very small current element means a structure. Let's consider a length dl, a differential length dl. So on that dl, if we can able to find out what is the current been flowing, that is known as a Hertz dipole. An infinitesimal small current element is called Hertz dipole. Small current element is called. So what is the purpose of taking that very small current element? So practically there is no use of isolately using this small current element. It basically gives us the basis of any complex radiating structure. If we can able to find out what is the characteristic exist for this kind of small current element, then we can take out this current element as the basis of any kind of complex radiating structure. Okay, so it forms the basis of any complex radiating structure. So any radiating structure can always be thought of a collection of this small current element. Any radiating structure can always be thought of as collection of small current elements. Okay, so let us take this current element is located at the origin. So from that origin, when it will radiates, what are the different fields we going to observe at a far distant point? So same thing, we'll take out this current element first. We'll look into the configuration of that current element. We'll use that current element to find out the vector potential. Then we'll use that vector potential to find out all the field components. Okay, so let us take, we are having the current element which is at the origin. Okay, so from this current element given by the length, differential length dl. Okay, so what is the radiation being observed at an far distant point, that is at the observation point? So let us look how we can able to find out what is the elevation angle been included, what is the azimuthal angle been included for this observation point. Let us take, this is theta, the projection of that point on xy plane, let us give by phi. This is at a distance r, this observation point let us give by p. So on this point, if we can able to find out what is the component of magnetic vector potential, then we can easily find out what is that associated field components are. So on that dl, let us consider the current which is flowing, it is I naught, maximum current which has been flowing, that is I naught. So on this point we can take out different components of this vector potential. So radially outward, that is our AR component, it is downward, it is along theta, that is your A theta, then in that direction that will be our A phi, and let us take along this Z direction, it is our AZ, our AZ, and in that direction means, hello, 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 uh, okay, sorry for the interruption. Along this phi, let us consider this phi is like this, we can consider this is your A phi. So these are the different components we can assume for this current element dl. So how we can take out this current element, that will be I naught dl. So we'll look into that. So we can take this figure as Hertz dipole located at the origin and oriented along z axis. Okay, so this is all about the configuration what we are having, very small current element I naught dl, that is been located at the origin and it is oriented along the z axis. So let us assume that an infinitesimal current element of length dl carrying an alternating current I naught and the current element located at the origin and oriented along z-axis. So the instantaneous current in the dipole, therefore the instantaneous in the dipole, that is it is equals to I naught e to the power j omega t, that is along the z-axis, along z-axis. So omega is the angular frequency of the current. So what we know about this vector potential, that is A is equals to volume integration mu j r prime e to the power minus j beta r minus r prime 4 pi r minus r prime d v prime. Now we need to take out all those values on this equation. So here r minus r prime will become r, because the current element is located at the origin only. Is located at the origin. As the length of the current element is very much smaller than the distance r, so this distance r is same everywhere. Why? Because this dl, the length of the current element, it is very much small. So whatever the distance we have been considering, that at that distance our observation point P is located. So we can consider from that observation point, if we have been looking at the current element, we can find for a longer distance from this observation point, we can find out that this dl, it is simply a point. It is simply a point. So we can consider that from that observation point, everywhere this length dl is same. Everywhere this length dl is same. Okay. So as the length of the current element is much smaller than the distance r, the distance r is same everywhere in the current element, and the quantity, this quantity e to the power minus j beta r by 4 pi r minus r prime will become r, because this source is located at the origin, will become constant. Why? Because this r is not varying. From this observation point, if we look into this dl, everywhere this r is same. So we can write this magnetic vector potential as this quantity will become constant mu e to the power minus j beta r by 4 pi r volume integration j r prime into dv prime. Now here the integral of the current density over the volume is same as the IT dl. What is this IT dl? IT dl is the current element. This is the instantaneous current dipole. So this current element is IT dl. So that integration of the current density, this current density over the volume, same as the IT dl. because that is the current, that is the amount of current. So what we are doing, the current density is been integrated over the volume. So it is a simple current element which is having very negligible thickness. So we can consider the total current within the volume, it is same as the current which is been flowing on that length dl, right? So here the integral of the current element of the current density, this one, current density of the volume is same as the ITDL, because ITDL is the current total amount of current has been flowing in the total length DL. That is what also gives us the total amount of current density been integrated within the volume. So we can consider our volume is same as the length DL because it is having very negligible thickness. Because the integral of the cross section of the element will be the current IT, right? Because the integral of the cross section of the element will be the simply the current IT only, and IT dl will be the volume integral of the current density. Okay, so the concept is our current element is very small, which is having very negligible thickness. It can be looked into as a length dl. Okay, so if we take the volume integration of the current within that length, so it is same as the current which has been flowing on that, and the integration, volume integration, is same as the current into the length, right? We have been taking all those considerations for making our calculations quite simpler, because the volume integration, if we can consider that having very negligible thickness and can be written directly written as IT dl, then that will make our process quite simpler. So that's why all those consideration has been taken for our all the calculations. So what will be our vector potential expression? Therefore, this AR, that will be, this volume integration is simply IT into DL. So we can write directly mu into IT into DL e to the power minus JBR by 4 pi R. Okay. So this AR is a vector potential due to the small current element at the observation point. AR, all of them are vector quantity. Okay. All of them are vector quantity. Is the vector potential due to the small current element at the observation point. Now we need to go with the previous concept on this vector potential expression, which element is responsible for the vector nature of this vector potential. So on this, the vector nature is only due to the current element, means the direction of the current, and the vector potential can be goes on this vector nature, take into the vector nature only due to the vector quantity, which is the current, because it is having particular direction. What is that direction? It is along the z. the vector nature is only due to the current element means the direction of the current and the vector potential will have the same direction, because the vector nature is only depending upon this current element. So the direction of that vector quantity will be the direction of the magnetic vector potential, and vector potential will be A is equals to along Z direction. It is having the AZ component which is along Z direction. So we can write mu by 4 pi I naught e to the power j omega t dl e to the power minus j beta r by r along Z direction. Okay, let us give equation number 1. So this is what our final vector potential expression for this small current element. So this vector potential gives the direction same as the Hertz dipole, the current which has been flowing in the Hertz dipole. Okay, now we'll take out the different components of this R, this A in the spherical coordinate system. Why spherical? Because the radiation can be in any direction on the surface of the sphere. This is found as the Z component, but we'll take out, due to this Z component, what are the different spherical coordinate exist, spherical component exists for this magnetic vector potential. Since the radiation is investigated in the spherical coordinate, we have to convert this A vector in r theta phi component. We have to convert A vector in r theta and phi components, because whenever we'll go with the radiation problem, we need to consider spherical coordinate system only, because radiation can be in any direction. So if we take the rectangle, that will be along the surface of the rectangle. If we take the cylindrical coordinate system, it will be along cylindrical shape only. But you can't assume always the radiation will be like that shape. So for our convenience, always the radiation has been considered as a spherical coordinate system. So what will be this AR component? According to spherical coordinate system, that will be your AZ cos theta. Equation number 2. Then A theta, that will be minus AZ sin theta, and A phi is 0. A phi is 0. So now we will substitute this A in our previous Maxwell's equation, equation number 6. Substituting A vector in equation H is equals to 1 by mu del cross A on that equation. So if we substitute value of A on this equation, we can take out this magnetic field. So therefore our H in the spherical coordinate system, 1 by mu 1 by r square sin theta r cap del r by n a r, it is r theta cap del theta, it is r a theta, then r sin theta phi cap del phi, it is r sin theta a phi. So this is the representation of this curl in the spherical coordinate system. So we have this r component, we have theta component, but phi component is 0. There is no variation along with this phi. So this variation is also 0 because that Hardian dipole is oriented along this z. So if we go into this phi variation, as it is oriented along z, so if we rotate along this phi like this, if we rotate along this phi, so everywhere on this phi this current element will looks like same, there is no change. But if we go with this theta angle, different theta angle, so different theta angle will give us the different length. So it is having the variation along r and theta, but there will be no variation along phi because this phi will has the symmetrical orientation for this current element only. So by taking into this consideration, we can write mu r square sin theta is equals to r cap del r by ar component is az cos theta, then r theta cap del theta, that is minus r az sin theta, then r sin theta phi cap, that will be 0 0, since Harge dipole have the symmetry in phi direction, since Harge dipole has symmetry in phi direction. Okay, so that is what the Maxwell's equations which we have used to find this magnetic field H. Now we'll take out different component of this H and let us see what are the different component for this Harge dipole exists for the magnetic field. So this H 1 by mu r square sin theta, this one will be 0 into r cap minus, if we take this r component, minus 0 into r theta cap plus del r minus r az sin theta. I am just taking different components one by one. Del theta az cos theta multiplied with r sin theta phi cap. Okay, so we are having hr, it is 0. We are having h theta, which is also 0. We are having only h phi. What is that? H phi is equals to 1 by mu r, this r sin theta will get cancelled, del r minus r az sin theta minus del theta az cos theta. So this is what about our phi component. So on the magnetic field consists only phi component for this Harge dipole. Okay, now we'll put all this z component of the vector potential to find the final expression for this h phi. So substituting Az in the above equation. That is the last equation. So therefore H phi will be minus 1 by mu r dot mu by 4 pi I naught dl e to the power j omega t. We take that one common, that will be del del r into r e to the power minus j beta r by r sin theta plus del del theta of e to the power minus j beta r by r cos, that is I naught dl to the power j omega t by 4 pi r j beta e to the power minus j beta r sin theta from this plus to the power minus j beta r by r sin theta, or I naught dl e to the power j omega t. If we take this sin theta common, it will be 4 pi r to the power minus j beta r. If we take out, we are left with j beta plus 1 by r. If we take this r inside, therefore this final h phi, it will be I naught dl j omega t sin theta by 4 pi to the power minus j beta r. It will be j beta by r plus 1 by r square. So that's what our final expression for h phi. Let us give equation number 5. Now once we are having our magnetic field, we can find out the electric field. Now the points which needs to be noted here. First point is Hertz dipole has only phi component of the magnetic field. Okay, it is having only the phi component. So what does it mean? If this is our current component, it is having the magnetic field which rotates around this current carrying conductor. So it is obvious, because if the conductor is there, the current is flowing, so obviously magnetic field will encircle it. So that is why we getting only the phi component for this Hertz dipole. So this is what our circulation of the magnetic field around this current carrying conductor. Now the electric field at point P, that observation point P in space, other than the location of the source, how we can find out that? By putting this H in the source free Maxwell's equation. So when we'll find out the electric field will exist on that observation point P, due to this magnetic field which is around this current carrying conductor. So we can find out after putting this phi component of the magnetic field to the source free Maxwell's equation. Okay, so let us go with that. So what is that equation? That is E is equals to, it is a vector 1 by j omega epsilon del cross H, right? Del cross H is equals to, what is that? Source free condition. So conduction current will be 0. So we are supposed to have the displacement current, and it is in the phasor form. So we can write 1 by j omega epsilon, again in the spherical coordinate system, r square sin theta r cap del r. The r component of the H is 0, r theta cap del del theta. This theta component is also 0. R sin theta phi cap del del phi will be 0 because there is no variation. It is due to the symmetry of this current carrying conductor. It is having H phi r sin theta. So from that we need to take out different field components. Okay, so if we look into that, we can take out this R component first. If we go with this, so we can have this R component, right? So if we take the theta, whether theta will exist? Yes, theta will be exist. Whether there will be any phi component? No, because these two will be 0. So this ER component will be 1 by j omega epsilon into 1 by r square sine theta. It is del theta h phi r sine theta. H phi r sine theta. This one, this multiplication. So let us put this value on this expression and try to find out the final expression for this. J omega epsilon 1 by r square sine theta h phi, we need to put this value, that is I naught dl j omega t sine theta by, let us take out this 4 pi r minus j beta r j beta plus 1 by r into r sine theta. 1 by j omega epsilon r square sine theta. If we do the differentiation, it is coming out as r I naught dl e to the power j omega t twice sine theta cos theta by 4 r j beta r plus 1 by r. It is coming out as I naught dl e to the power j omega t cos theta e to the power minus j beta r by 4 pi omega epsilon beta by r square minus j by r. Number 6. So this is the expression for this ER. So in the same way we can find out E theta. So this E theta, I am just writing out the final expression for this. E theta coming out as I naught dl sine theta e to the power j omega t minus j beta r by 4 pi epsilon. It is j beta square by omega r plus beta by omega r square minus j by omega r. This is equation number 7. Okay, so altogether what are the different components we have? We have the phi component for magnetic field, we have the r component and theta component for the electric field. Okay, so we can say this magnetic field lies in the phi plane since it is having the phi component, and electric field lies in the r theta plane. It lies on the r theta plane. So three components we have for this Hertzian dipole. So what are the observations we can take out from this fields, from these three fields? The observations which we can make. Observations can be drawn from equation. It was 5, 6 and 7. 5, 6 and 7. So first observation is At the expression of this electric field and magnetic field, the fields can be classified in three categories. It is very important. I'm just writing that. At the expression, or by looking at the expression of the electric and magnetic fields, the fields can be classified in three categories on the basis of their variation, their variation as a function of distance, that is r. So what are these three fields? The three fields have spatial variation as, what are this? We can look into that. This h phi, it is having the variation with respect to 1 by r. It is having with respect to 1 by r square. This e theta, it is 1 by r square and 1 by r cube. This er is having this thing. E theta is having 1 by r, 1 by r square, 1 by r cube. So the maximum three categories are with respect to 1 by r variation, with respect to 1 r square variation, with respect to 1 by r cube variation. So that is what it says, that three fields have the spatial variation as 1 by r, that is our radiation field, then 1 by r square, that is induction field, and 1 by r cube, which is known as electrostatic field. Now, since beta is equals to omega root over mu epsilon, that is beta is proportional to omega, that is beta is proportional to omega, the magnitude of the field, which varies as 1 by r cube, is inversely proportional to frequency. Look, 1 by r cube, right? So this beta, if we put the value of beta here, that is omega root over mu epsilon. So omega will get cancelled. Here, if we put beta square, so omega square will come. So this 1 by r field is directly proportional to omega. 1 by r square, it is not depending upon the frequency, but 1 by r cube field, it is inversely proportional to omega. Just try to understand. 1 by r, which is directly proportional to omega. So 1 by r is a radiation field. So obviously we can say, if it is directly proportional to omega, I'm just writing here again by putting beta is equals to omega root over mu epsilon. So if we put that one, that is I naught dl sin theta e to the power j omega t minus j beta r by 4 pi epsilon, that will be j beta, so it will be j omega mu epsilon by r, that is root over mu epsilon by r square minus j omega r cube. So what we found here, this 1 by r field, that is radiation field, is directly proportional to frequency. This 1 by r square field, it is doesn't depends upon the frequency, but 1 by r cube field, it is inversely proportional to frequency. So what does it mean? It is directly has the consequence with the frequency of operation. So what is the conclusion we can draw? We can draw, if the frequency of operation is increasing, if we have been going with high frequency of operation, microwave range, so for that microwave range, if the frequency of operation is increasing, radiation field is also increased. Radiation field will also increase. So it indirectly tells you that to have the radiation, we need to go with high frequency operation. We need to go with high frequency of operation to have the radiation. Induction field, it doesn't depends upon the frequency, but this electrostatic field. So electrostatic field says if the frequency of operation is increases, electrostatic field will decrease, since it's inversely proportional to frequency. So we'll see what is this electrostatic field, induction field, radiation field, all those things are. So that is beta proportional to omega. The magnitude of the fields which varies as 1 by r cube 1 by r cube is inversely proportional to the frequency which varies as 1 by r square is independent of frequency and which varies as 1 by r is proportional to frequency. Okay, so this 1 by r square and 1 by r fields are dominant only for small values of r, right? So for this 1 by r cube and 1 by r square, if r value is increases, so there is no, it is not at all having very large magnitude. But 1 by r, if the r is increases, then obviously with the increasing of this r, this value will increase. So for the large distance or large value of r, 1 by r square and 1 by r cube are not that much dominant. But 1 by r field is much dominant, right? The 1 by r square and 1 by r cube field are dominant only for small values of r, whereas 1 by r field is dominant for large value of r. So we can say at low frequencies, the fields are more localized around the source, right? At low frequencies, because this 1 by r cube, it is inversely proportional to omega. So if omega is smaller, obviously 1 by r cube will have some value, right? And for that r, this value will be, again it will decrease, for which we have the radiation field. So if we consider a longer distance, observation point at a longer distance at a part point, so for that 1 by r cube field is smaller, 1 by r square is much smaller. This 1 by r cube, again it is inversely proportional to frequency. If the frequency of operation increases, so this field will again decrease. So we can say at low frequencies, to make this 1 by r cube a little bit dominant, these fields are more localized around the source, it is near the source, whereas at high frequency the field reach out at far away distances from the source. Or in other words, for same current I naught and same distance r, 1 by r field becomes the stronger as frequency increases. For same current I naught and same distance r, the 1 by r field becomes stronger as the frequency increases. As the frequency increases, right? Understand? So 1 by r field, it is radiation field which will increase with the frequency of operation, higher frequency of operation. 1 by r square, it is independent of frequency. 1 by r cube, it is inversely proportional. So this 1 by r square and 1 by r cube, if the opposite point is also been moved at a far distant point, so obviously these fields will decrease and they are more localized towards the or around the field. So these kind of fields are known as near field. These kind of fields are known as near field. So induction field or electrostatic field, these fields are not at all been considered as the radiation field, because the fields are not at all radiating. Power is not being transferred from the radiating structure to the medium. Rather, they are being stored. The power is stored within those fields. So these are also known as the electrostatic field or induction field or near field. You can consider somewhat near field. So we can also find out the boundary point where this all of these fields will be having the equal magnitude. What is the boundary? How we can define that? At what distance these fields will have the dominance, that field will not have any dominance. Okay, so the three fields will be equal in magnitude when the three fields will be equal in magnitude when beta square by r, let's go with this, beta square by r, beta by r square and 1 by r cube will be same, right? So we can write down when beta square by r is equals to beta by r square is equals to 1 by r cube. So from this we can take out r is equals to coming out as 1 by beta. Now since beta is equals to twice pi by lambda, so to have all those values same, we choose, if we choose r is equals to lambda by 6 from the source, if we choose from this, we can, by equating any one of them, we can take out r is equals to 1 by beta. And now since beta is equals to twice pi by lambda, so if r approximately taken as lambda by 6, then from the source these fields will be equal. Okay, so we can consider twice pi almost is equals to 6, twice pi almost is equals to 6, so r is equals to lambda by 6, twice pi 2 is 2 into 3.14, so it is almost is equals to 6. So we can consider r, if it is approximately is equals to lambda by 6, then all these fields will be equal. Okay, so for a distance less than lambda by 6, we have the electrostatic field which dominates, whereas for greater than lambda by 6, we have the radiation field which dominates. So to this less than lambda by 6, here electrostatic field, and for greater than lambda by 6, that will be a radiation field. Okay, so go with that. I'll upload all those things and try to understand what are the things I will. If any doubt you are having, you can ask.